And while we're on senators, we have another champion of labor, maybe the most bombastic and articulate and serious son of labor here in the Commonwealth. I don't think I've ever seen anybody get redder at a microphone with passion for this great labor movement than my dear friend, Steve Tolman. Steve Tolman, representing the Senate President, a union man.
Cousin from Cohen. Good evening, everybody. And on behalf of the Senate President and all the senators, I'm delighted to be here and certainly join with my colleagues, the newest addition, Kenny Donnelly, out of labor, from the firefighters, and a statewide leader on his own with the firefighters. And I know Anthony Galluccio's here from Cambridge, another one. They give you the word, their word is good. And certainly, as the President has just said, you know, Republican, Democrat, let me tell you, one of my dearest friends is Bruce Tarrin. He gives you his word is good. It's not about anything but about what's right with Senator Tarrin. I'm honored to call him a friend, and I think that's what this whole business is about. And to Mr. Secretary, my neighbor, and Madam Secretary, and to my favorite professor in the world, Professor Green, who I probably wouldn't have graduated college without his help, and to Mr. President, this is just an honor to be here. An honor to be here for several reasons. I remember carrying this bill, and I didn't have the juice to get it done. I didn't have the juice. I tried my best, but we couldn't get it passed. But they gave it to Stevie Walsh, and boom, it sailed through, and I'm delighted for that. I am delighted for that, because what does it mean? Think about what it means. You figure it's 100 years after a guy was assassinated in the corner office before we finally get recognition. We must ask ourselves, in that 100 years, is labor as important as it was 100 years ago? And clearly it's as important. And clearly Ed Cohen knew the importance of engaging his members in municipal, state, and national politics. That's why he was up here himself, very much like our leaders always around and up here. And we ask ourselves, what have we accomplished? How far have we come? And think about it, from the Sam Gompers quote to labor wants more schools and less jails, as we all know that favorite quote of all of us, and what labor really means. And where are we today? When we're still struggling in the workplace about decent rights. I was in the President's office a little while ago, and one of the custodians came in and they're getting laid off. They're not getting laid off. A custodian, where's he going to go for a job? We know how bad the economy is. In healthcare, how many of our neighbors have lost everything because of a healthcare crisis in their life? And the statistics reveal that 75% of those, the highest rate of bankruptcy in our seniors, in our senior population. I know the Secretary knows this more than anybody because he's out there fighting it all the time for people. 75% of them had healthcare when they get sick. There's something wrong with our society. And who is always the voice speaking out? It's organized labor. It's what they stand for, to make sure that it's important, the issues that were important 150 years ago, 100 years ago, and they are as important today. So we finally get recognition on the wall, as we have done with so many other good causes. And in the spirit of that, everybody asks, what is a labor movement? What does it stand for? And we know because we live it. But my favorite quote is a quote by Murray Kempton. And I ask you to think about this as I read it, because it is what the movement is about. And when my friends across the aisle always call, they say, the chair of the AFL-CIO caucus, and they think they're insulting me, they're making me proud, because there's nothing more important in my life than the AFL-CIO, because I know the value and meaning of what they stand for. But the union is not for yourself, but for your children. It does not arise to avenge the past, but claim the future. It is not an expression. It is an expression not of dignity of its leaders, but of dignity of all. It was not called into being to celebrate the majesty of one person. It does not live to serve the self-indulgence of another. It is not the property. It is not property, but it is mission. Every decent moment in the history of man is the assertion of an affronted conscience. Anyone can belong to a union, but a union belongs to no one, and least of all to anyone who is ashamed of where he or she came from and indifferent to those he or she left behind. The union leader is not an owner of an institution. He or she is the caretaker of a tradition. And that is the spirit that we honor today for President Cohen, who gave his life and inspired so many in doing so. I'm honored to be part of it. Thank you.